Go Vikes! What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Vikings Spin. I'm your host, Jason, and we're going to break down the upcoming game between the Vikings and the Green Bay Packers coming up here tomorrow, one day before Christmas Eve, so it's a little bit of a festive game. The Vikings are going to come into this game at 11-3. They are already the NFC North champions, currently sitting at the number 2 seed overall in the NFC. While the Packers were eliminated from playoff contention last week, they come into the game at 7-7. So the Vikings are still chasing a first-round bye, as well as the number 1 seed. They'd like to get home field advantage throughout the playoffs if they can. That would take 2 Vikings wins and a Philadelphia Eagles losing their last 2 games. Otherwise, the Vikings can clinch the number 2 seed, and that would still give them a first-round bye. And a home playoff game at the very least in the divisional round. Now some team news this week. We had 4 Vikings Pro Bowl selections. Obviously, there were, a lot of people think there should have been more, but we did have Everson Griffin, Anthony Barr, Xavier Rhodes, and Adam Thielen all make the Pro Bowl. For Adam Thielen, that was his first Pro Bowl of his career, and I'm really happy to see him get in. You probably could have made an argument for Case Keenum, Harrison Smith, Linval Joseph, Riley Reif, Eric Kendricks, even Kyle Rudolph, but it is what it is. The Vikings still get 4 represented, so that's pretty good. The Packers actually had none represented this year, so definite disparity in the talent level, as you can see. The Packers, speaking of that, they will be without starting quarterback Aaron Rodgers. He was placed back on injured reserve after last week, sort of re-aggravating the collarbone injury that he sustained against the Vikings earlier this season. Rodgers did not look himself last week, and the Packers decided to shut him down after they were eliminated from playoff contention. So Brett Hundley, the backup quarterback, will get the start for the Packers. And that leads me to the rankings overall. This season, in total offensive yards, the Vikings rank 8th overall in the NFL. Green Bay ranks 23rd. In points per game offensively, the Vikings come in 10th overall. The Packers come in 17th. In passing offense, the Vikings come in at 9th overall. The Packers come in 22nd. And rushing offense, the Vikings come in 9th overall. And Green Bay comes in at 18th. Defensively, defensive total yards, the Vikings 2nd in the league overall. The Packers are 26th. Defensive points per game, the Vikings come in 2nd overall. Green Bay is at 21st overall. And pass defense, the Vikings come in 3rd in the league. The Packers are ranked 24th. And in rushing defense, the Vikings rank 2nd overall, and the Packers rank 20th overall. And you'll have the injury reports here. We've got, for the Vikings, cornerback Tremaine Brock is out. Questionable are going to be Riley Reef, Andrew Sendejo, and Mackenzie Alexander. Reef was limited all week in practice, so he's probably about a 50-50 shot of playing here. Sendejo and Alexander, they practiced fully on the Vikings' last practice yesterday, so they have a pretty good shot to play. The Packers, first I'll go over the injured reserve, because you would think that a lot of these other guys, they're not even appearing on the injury report, but that's because they are actually on injured reserve and won't be playing for the rest of the season. That's Aaron Rodgers, cornerback Kevin King, running back Ty Montgomery, right tackle Brian Bulaga, and cornerback Quentin Rollins. In addition to that, the Packers injury report has wide receiver Devontae Adams out, as well as cornerback Dimitri Goodson. And then doubtful is outside linebacker Nick Perry. The Packers do not believe he'll play in this game. And they also have several players that are questionable. That includes outside linebacker Clay Matthews, right guard Jabari Evans, and they also have cornerback Devon House as questionable as well. House probably has the best chance to play out of those guys. But the Packers, as you can see, they come into this game fairly banged up on both sides of the ball. With the matchups that you'll see, with the projected starting lineups here, you'll have the wide receivers Diggs and Thielen, as well as Wright, Treadwell, and Floyd, who all sub in as the 3 from time to time. If House plays, he'll probably take. My guess is he'll probably take the outside receiver, whether that's Diggs, Thielen, or Michael Floyd, and they have Randall as well, and Hawkins is probably going to play the nickel. If Hawkins matches up on Thielen, that's going to be a big mismatch there. So I think the Vikings will be able to take advantage of these matchups with the wide receivers. When you're looking at the front 7 of Green Bay, you'll see probably that Ahmad Brooks is going to start in place of Nick Perry. And if Clay Matthews doesn't play, it'll be Vinny Beagle, the rookie. They're going to go against the front 7 with, of course, Jet McKinnon and Latavius Murray in the backfield, with our O-line and Case Keenum. I like our chances there, especially with the Packers missing at least 1, maybe 2 linebackers in this game. And then you look at the defensive side of the ball for the Vikings. With Brian Bulaga out, that means that Jason Spriggs would get the start for Green Bay at right tackle. And Spriggs will go against either Daniel Hunter or Everson Griffin. Another favorable matchup there for the Vikings to take advantage of. With Evans possibly out, the interior of Green Bay's line could be vulnerable to Linval Joseph and B-Rod and Tom Johnson. You'll see the front 7, the Vikings front 7 will be going up against the Packers line. Ty Montgomery has been out for most of the season, and Green Bay has used talented rookie running back Aaron Jones, as well as fellow rookie Jamal Williams. Those will be the backs that will carry the load for Green Bay. And on the receivers versus corners, you're probably going to see now with Devontae Adams out, Randall Cobb is going to get a lot more snaps, as well as Jordy Nelson. I would expect Xavier Rhodes to probably match up against Nelson, as they're going to probably try to want to take him away as much as they can in this ball game. So those will be the matchups you'll have. Then for special teams, of course, we know we've got with the Vikings, Kai Forbath is the kicker, Ryan Quigley, who's having a nice year as the punter, and Marcus Sherrills returning punts and kicks. Mason Crosby for Green Bay, as well as Trevor Davis as the return man, and Justin Vogel as the punter. And then I would say the keys to a Vikings victory in this game would be to stop the run, make Green Bay pass, make them one-dimensional. For Brett Hundley, he tends to play poor if he's under pressure. And offensively, I would definitely try to establish the run with their couple of linebackers out, and that'll open up the play-action pass for some favorable matchups for Case Keenum on the outside, with Diggs, Thielen, and of course Kyle Rudolph at tight end. So that's the way I see it playing out. I thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of Viking Spin, and we'll see you next time on the postgame. Take care.